Elch. Can you say it?
Elch. I'm happy to be here and just been. Like you could just feel my heart beating like through my suit and everything.
Bavario.
How does it feel? First time in Lederhosen?
I feel like Bavario.
Well, I grew up on the west side of New Orleans, Louisiana. The city is basically split by a river, and I lived on the west side of the river. I grew up there, my mom, my sister. And I mean, as a kid, I just really played sports year round. I grew up right across the street from a recreational park, and they had different sports in season throughout the year, and I basically played everything. So I've always been in love with sports.
2,11 Meter groß, 120 Kilo schwer und eine Stimme, die diese mächtige Erscheinung untermalt. Greg Monroe. Ich treffe den neuen Bayern Center im Teamhotel in Miami zum Interview. Sein Tagesablauf voll. Ein Medientermin nach dem anderen. Dazwischen Training, Saisonvorbereitung. Doch anstelle eines gestressten NBA-Stars treffe ich einen entspannten, fast schon zurückhaltenden Gentleman. Er erinnert sich zurück, warum ausgerechnet Basketball sein Sportlerherz eroberte.
The day my dad taught me how to play, when he actually took me to a park on the actual hoop, I remember that day. I think I fell in love with the game as soon as I played it. All I had to do was look out my front window, and it would be, almost every kid in the neighborhood playing basketball. And so it's just something that I continue to grow to love, and I've got pretty good at it. I was always tall, so I didn't really have a choice. I was like 14. I was playing for a team, an AAU team, and, my coaches was like, man, how serious do you want to take it? Because, you could really do anything you want to with it and be whatever you want to be. And, that conversation kind of, made me change my outlook on how I wanted to approach the game. I became more serious about it. And, he saw something I didn't see.
Und sein Trainer sollte Recht behalten. Seine Leistungen in der Helen Cox High School verschaffen ihm einen Platz im All-American-Team. Es folgt eine überragende Freshman-Saison an der Georgetown University und damit die Auszeichnung zum Rookie des Jahres. Dann der Tag der Wahrheit. Der 24. Juni 2010, der für immer sein Leben verändern wird.
The Detroit Pistons select Greg Monroe from Georgetown University.
I just remember I was so nervous. I was at the draft, and I remember my sister was sitting next to me, and I was so nervous, and I grabbed her hand, and I put it on my heart, and you could just feel my heart beating through my suit and everything.
When you heard your name, did your heart stop?
Nah, it didn't, because you can't, because one thing people don't know about the draft is, once you walk across that stage, once you get off of it, for the next 4 hours straight, you're doing all media stuff. And you don't leave. I got drafted at probably 7:30. I didn't leave till 1 a.m. And then you're doing media nonstop. And so you get a chance to celebrate it, but then you really don't. And it's just hitting you so fast. But I mean, it's like I said, it's what everybody works for when they're in that position, and it's all fun. And you take everything in, take it stride by stride.
Mm-hmm. Your nickname is Moose, which in German, by the way, has anyone told you how to say it?
No.
Elch. Can you say it?
One more time.
Elch.
Elch?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a very specific nickname. How did you get that?
Right. So, man, it's a long story. So when I was really young, I had a kid that I grew up with, and we were really young. We were kids, and he would just be like, "Shut up, you big moose." It's just, we were really young. We were 7, 8 years old. Just something, he said, playing around, joking around. But just one day in high school, there was this girl I knew from my church, but we went to the same high school. She was just doodling on the board. And she just, asked me hey, what's your nickname? And right in that moment, I said Big Moose. and like she drew it on the board, and the teacher left it up there for like weeks. So everybody that had her class just saw it and started calling me that naturally. And then in high school, we were in the playoffs, and they put all of our jersey numbers. They drew some posters for us, you know, school spirit and stuff. And they put all of our jersey numbers with our nicknames on the back in like the center hallway. And so then it got even bigger because everybody walks in the hallway. And I took that poster to college. And how it got all the way to the NBA, I took that poster to college. Everybody at college called me that, but one of my teammates in college ended up getting drafted a year before me to the same team I got drafted to a year later. And he was calling me that out of habit. And, you know, the coach caught on to it, asked me if that was cool. I was like, yeah, it's fine, that's my nickname. But he ended up saying it in the media one time. And at the time, they didn't know. And they were just like, who is Moose? And he was like, oh, I'm sorry, it's Greg. And so after that,
It was out
just
there.
came to me. Yeah, it was out there after that. And man, every time I scored in the arena, he would say Moose, and the fans, it just grew from there. So, you know, I love it. It's fun. You know, it doesn't really mean anything though. It's just something that happened organically. So it's cool. It's a part of me now. I can't really get rid of it.
That's a good story.
Yeah.
623 Einsätze in der NBA, 417 davon in der Starting Five, über 13 Punkte und 8 Rebounds im Schnitt in der stärksten Liga der Welt. Und dann ein Karriereschritt, der nicht nur in Deutschland für Schlagzeilen sorgte.
I just got to a point where I just wanted to compete and be on the court. And, you know, this gives me the opportunity to do that. You know, still compete at a high level, still playing against some of the best players in the world. And, you know, it just, when I, you know, reached out to teams over here, just talking to, you know, the front office here, and just talking about, you know, the things that this team was trying to do, I just thought it was a great fit. And I only heard good things about Munich. So everything, all things considered, it just was a collective, you know, decision. You know, and I'm happy to be here. And then just been...
Offensichtlich. Seitens der Bayern weiß Daniele Baiesi, der Sportdirektor, aus erster Hand, wie es zu dem Sensationsdeal kam.
It was the easiest deal that I ever had to make or to close, because we just told them, like, this is what we have, this is what we need, this is what we don't want to go through, and this is who we are. If you are not ready to go through this and that in Europe, just don't come. Then if you want to make this part of the journey together with us, then, you know, we're open, we're excited. And I think we had not even a negotiation. It was like, this is what we have, you take it or leave it. He took it.
Klingt fast zu einfach, um wahr zu sein. Doch wenn man Moose so kennenlernt, scheint bodenständig völlig zutreffend. Miami kennt er übrigens wie seine Westentasche. Also steigen wir ins Uber und fahren los nach Wynwood, seinem Lieblingsort.
It's a newer area here, but like I said, the street art, the visuals are really nice. They have some nice food, some places to hang out if you want to. It's a nice place, nice area.
What are your interests besides basketball?
I read a lot. That's probably one thing I do.
What kind of genre?
I'm more of I'm definitely a nonfiction guy. I really read fiction books. I like stuff just about that you can apply to real life, just about personal growth, things like that.
Do you have a favorite one?
Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. He's probably my favorite author. Oh, and somebody's swimming right here.
Oh. Yeah, this
Got a little
one's
shade
nice.
right here too. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
We're trying to, yes, the shade is nice. So you have told us you're from New Orleans, which is not so far away, and you're pretty familiar with Miami. So maybe tell us again, what do you like about like the feeling here and the culture here in Miami?
I love it, and then, you know, I come from a place that has a lot of culture. So, you know, to come to another place with different cultures and to learn about different, you know, different peoples and different ways of lives is always fun.
Kultur gibt es bekanntlich in Bayern zur Genüge. Und auch die begrüßt der vielschichtige Riese mit offenen Armen.
I think, Greg, you might be the perfect new lederhosen model.
Super German.
It's super Bavarian. Bavario.
Bavario. I like that. Bavario.
How does it feel? First time in lederhosen?
I feel like Bavario.
That was fun, putting them on. I think I look pretty well in them. I look pretty good in them myself. I feel like that's a good part of life, just to experience different things. So to be able to live in another country, I mean, I would have never thought of this in my life. So to be living in Germany, why not take full opportunity to embrace the culture?
Wenn es aber um den Sport geht, wird Greg Monroe ganz schnell wieder ernst. Denn immerhin kommt er mit einer festen Mission nach Europa.
It's just compete at the highest level and try and win. And that's always been my focus no matter where I play. Do whatever I can to help the team win. I know they've been successful already, and I just want to continue to add to that and continue the winning, culture that they've built here.
Is there like a motto or something that you live by?
Yeah, probably trust in God, believe in yourself. That's the one thing. I have the letters tatted on my wrist, and that's just something that just always a reminder, no matter what you're going through, no matter where you are, if you put your mind to it and believe in God, anything is possible.
Das Gefühl kann ich nach unserem Treffen nur bestätigen. Sympathisch, bodenständig, stets ein wenig nachdenklich, ambitioniert, authentisch. Greg Moose Monroe überzeugt nicht nur mit seinen Stats, sondern vor allem mit seiner Persönlichkeit. Willkommen daheim.
Abonniert den Kanal für weitere Videos und lasst auch gerne einen Kommentar da.